I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School, and we've come together with DECKED to create a co-branded survival kit that will fit in a crossbox that you can store in your deck drawer system. What we've done is we have assembled components that are high quality, that are good in emergency scenarios, and will give you the minimal amount of kit that you should have with you for an emergency situation should it arise while you're in your vehicle. You can also walk away from the vehicle because you have it in a decked crossbox. So let's talk about the components of this kit one at a time and discuss their importance as we go. Your number one survival priority is always going to be self-aid. If you have a broken bone or you're bleeding and you don't fix that, you can't affect your other survival priorities of fire, shelter, water, signaling for rescue, and those type things. So we have put a first aid kit in here that contains major components to take care of things like bleeding and break sprains and strains. So when you look at this kit, it's not very big, but it's fairly comprehensive. The main components to this kit that make it so good are, number one, it has a tourniquet. That's the most important emergency survival item you can carry, probably, above something to make fire and a cutting tool, because you can bleed out in a very short amount of time from arterial bleeding. So we put a good quality tourniquet in this kit. We also have a large emergency dressing in this kit that can be used for major bleeding as well. You have a SAM splint that can be unrolled, twisted, bent, cut if needs be for a finger or something like that. That can be used to wrap around an injured limb to stabilize it and immobilize that limb. And then you have bandages and gauze and things that can wrap around that to keep it in place. And it even includes an emergency blanket in case you need it to be able to reflect heat from your fire convectively to rapidly rewarm your body in a situation of hypothermia. There's a few other bandages and things like that in there. There's a triangle dressing. There are some shears. Fairly comprehensive kit for what it is. And will definitely take care of you in an emergency scenario. The good thing about this kit is it also has a MOLLE attachment on it. So if you're to carry this kit away from the box itself, you have ways that you can carry it or attach it to another backpack, things like that. If you have some type of system in your vehicle that you can attach this to, that can be done as well in the future if you choose to do that, to keep it separate from the box or in the box. Either way you want to carry it. Cutting tools are going to be one of your most important elements of your survival kit. Cutting tools will allow you to cut cordage to assemble shelters. They also will allow you to create fire starting and fire maintaining materials, process fire woods, and do other things that may help you affect first aid, like cutting splint material if you need it, and also popping blisters, digging out splinters, all those types of things that you may need in a survival scenario. Key elements here are a folding saw. And a lot of people wonder with survival, why would you carry a folding saw over something like a hatchet or an axe? Because hatchets and axes obviously can process lots and lots of material. Fact is, a learning curve for an axe is much steeper than the learning curve for a saw. The weight is much different than a saw. And in a true survival scenario short term, you should need to cut large timbers. You're not building a log cabin. You may be building a small shelter frame or making a sustaining fire to keep yourself warm or disinfect your water. This saw will do all of those things for you. It's made from a high quality Swedish stainless steel, so it's not going to break on you if you bend it in the kerf. When you're cutting and you get in a hurry and you bend it, the blade's not going to snap on you. It folds up very small, fits in a backpack very nicely, fits in this crossbox perfectly. The next element of this kit is a good knife. And a high quality knife is a very important tool. You should always carry a pocket knife with you all the time, but having a spare belt knife, something that you don't mind abusing in a survival scenario, is very important. This knife is made from a high carbon steel. It has a rubberized handle on it so that if you have blood on your hands or you're wet and it's raining, you're not going to lose your grip. It has a C100 carbon steel in it that's very similar to 1095 that they use in Sweden to make these knives. This company's been in business for over 130 years. Moore knife is a very high quality knife, and it's the knives that we recommend at our school when we're teaching students as well. It has a good, sharp Scandinavian grind. It has a 90-degree spine on it so that it can be used to scrape a ferrocerium rod. and this rod we'll talk about in just a few minutes, but you can scrape this rod and throw lots and lots of hot sparks into your tinder material, as long as you have that 90-degree spine. You can also use that spine to process tinder materials like fat wood or dry wood to give yourself small shavings. Very important to have a good knife. Again, this one has an option on it where you can put it on your belt, you can hang it on the molly straps of a backpack, or you can actually put it on the button of a pair of overall or jeans if you want to, and carry it that way. It has a plastic sheath with a drain hole, a very robust knife. The next element that you have is you have something that you can build shelter with. Shelter is going to be an important component to keep you protected from the elements around you. You should have the clothing on your back and spare clothing with you for the environment that you're operating in, any weather changes seasonally that you may experience, but you still need to build a shelter to, number one, trap body heat, and also control the heat convectively from a fire in a cold weather environment. So what we've done is we've put a 7x7 Pathfinder tarp in here. It comes in the bag with tent stakes and ropes to set it up in several different configurations, and those configurations from plow point to A-frame to lean-to are also shown on the front of the package so that you understand the different configurations that tarp can be set up in. Then you have an extra 100 feet of 550 paracord that you can use for lashing this tarp to something, stretching it between two trees, or lash, tie, and bind things in camp, and also used for first aid if you had to tie things on like splinting material and things like that. Your fire starting components that we talked about a minute ago are a ferrocerium rod, which is a 6" by 3/8 ferrocerium rod that's made from multiple metals that are called pyrophorics. They spontaneously combust with heat, friction, and oxygen so that you throw 3,000 plus degree sparks into a tinder material, and even if it's marginal or damp, this will still get you by. However, we've also included Mini Inferno in this kit. The Mini Inferno is a waterproof, accelerant-based fire starting device that can be used in any weather to start fire, and it will give you 5 to 7 minutes of open flame to dry marginal tinder sources or damp tinder sources to help keep your fire going and get it ready to add fuel. The last component of this kit is a stainless steel bottle and a stainless steel cup. You need a stainless steel or at least metal bottle of some sort that's single walled. And that's important to understand that any bottle you're going to put in a fire has to be a single wall stainless steel bottle. If it's vacuum packed and has a double wall, it's going to burst when it's in the fire. Once that vacuum inside heats up, it will burst the size of your bottle. So you want a single wall bottle that you can actually place in the fire once you've collected a groundwater resource to boil that water and disinfect it for consumption, at which time you can boil and dump your water. You can be drinking this while you're boiling more. This can be suspended over a fire very easily. And you have a cup that you can use later on if you need to for a chamber to make charred material. But it also gives you multiple containers that you can be boiling or cooking in at the same time. All of these components fit very well into this crossbox. The way it's set up, your first aid kit is made to go on one side. Water bottle and cup and tarp on top of each other in the kit. Mini Inferno, ferrocerium rod, paracord, 2 cutting tools. This box is very, very heavy duty. You're not going to tear this thing up. Keep this in your deck drawer system for emergencies. The key to survival is preparedness. This kit, available only at deck.com for a limited time, will ensure that you're prepared for an emergency.